welcome to the 5th episode of Into the Archives. If you've missed our previous episodes, look for them on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. I'm here today with another lovely piece from the Slater Mill Archives. A watercolor image of Pawtucket Falls and the Main Street Bridge, seemingly painted by H.L. Spencer in 1903.
It is painted in bright watercolors on thick watercolor paper, and the image itself is enclosed in a fairly small circular frame. Most of the page is left empty. In the bottom left quadrant of the image, outside of the circle, is the phrase Pawtucket Falls and Bridge in 1840 from an old painting, with the artist's signature and the year written in the bottom center of the circle, overlapping the image a bit. The view is such that the bridge and the falls are at the very center, and the river runs off slightly to the right. There are tall, factory-like buildings on each side, and in the lower left there is a small dirt yard with a little brown shed. A figure in a canoe, with their back turned to the viewer, docks into the little yard, where a lone barrel is located. Two other figures in a small sailboat, both wearing hats, are just downriver of the first. The sky in the background is very cloudy. The edges of the image fade out gently, rather than being bound by a harsh borderline. Watercolor painting is an ancient process, used in China, Japan, India, and Ethiopia since at least the Bronze Age, about 3100 BCE, but really became an art form during the Renaissance in the 15th century. It is also a convenient medium, since the hard cakes of paint that were available were fairly portable. The paint was commonly composed of pigment, gum arabic, various additives to alter its viscosity, and evaporating water. The preferred binding agent since the 19th century has been gum arabic with glycerin and honey added. As for pigment, chemical and dye makers in England developed brighter and more permanent colors for textiles during the Industrial Revolution. These formulas carried over into the fine arts, creating more intense color for a water-based medium. Watercolor painting gained popularity in the United States during the 19th century. Famous American watercolorists include Winslow Homer, John Singer Sargent, Reginald Marsh, and Andrew Wyeth. The image depicts the powerful Pawtucket Falls, with the Main Street Bridge crossing high above it. Pawtucket is an Algonquin word referencing place of the falls, apt, as this is the last waterfall along the Blackstone River. Here, the freshwater Blackstone falls into the brackish Seekonk River, which connects to Narragansett Bay. Brackish water is mixed freshwater and saltwater. This has been a major junction and crossing point of Narragansett Bay for centuries. First used by the Native Americans, it later became a bustling community for the early English settlers. Beginning in 1671, when Joseph Jenks Jr. built an iron forge near the falls and began to develop the ironworking industry that would become Pawtucket's first introduction to a new kind of lifestyle. Just over a century later, in 1793, Samuel Slater and his colleagues would build Slater Mill upriver from the falls and solidify Pawtucket as an industrial city and home of America's Industrial Revolution. The first known bridge was built over the Pawtucket Falls in 1713, but the oldest portions of what we now know as the Main Street Bridge were built in 1858. It was most recently widened in the 1960s and has gone under various construction projects over the last few years. The Main Street Bridge is believed to be the oldest highway bridge in Rhode Island and was added to the National Historic Register in 1983.
Thanks once again for watching Into the Archives. Grab your petticoats and check our Facebook page or our YouTube channel next Monday for another wonderful object from the Slater Mill Archives. See you soon!